Hello, everybody. Excuse the delay. Uh, these videos, as I go on and on, I'm noticing that as easy it is to talk about it, I'm noticing I have to formulate things in my mind, and I do videos. Sometimes I don't put them out. Sometimes I don't like them. Sometimes I wind up scratching it and re-recording it. Sometimes I abandon it altogether. So that's what the delays are most of the time. Uh, But hope everybody's having a beautiful weekend. Today's Saturday, so I hope everybody is enjoying their weekend. All right, so let's build on my last video. Life after Christ. That's what I'm gonna say. Life after I found Christ. It was different. It was different in the sense that you're trying to walk a certain way. You're trying to just embrace all of the beautiful things you found out about yourself, and trying to embrace all I was trying to live a certain way because I found Christ. I was trying to walk in his grace. I knew I was living in sin. I wasn't married. I had children, so forth. I I guess you can say I had pressures. Well, yeah, sort of pressures on me to walk and do certain things differently. And as far as married as well. Me and Lynn was already going through our ups and downs and our things. You know, we already knew we had issues, but we was going to our therapy, well, a few therapy sessions with our pastor, and but we felt we was okay, so we went and got married. We should have really addressed our issues before we did it, but we went and got married. I was already living as a family, as I've always done, so it wasn't that big a deal just to add a ring and paper to it. So, of course, I'm the bread and butter. Uh, my ex my ex was a stay-at-home mom, which always worked best for us because with twins, daycare for twins was always crazy. It didn't even make sense. So it made sense for her to stay home while I worked. So I'm grinding. I'm doing my thing. I'm working in Maryland, building kitchen and bathroom cabinets. I'm still doing a little hustle every now and then, selling my clothes or whatever it was. And so, what I remember most about that time was I was just because I didn't have the worries and nothing on myself from the streets and none of that. I felt this was the most time I felt more at peace in the sense that I had my coworkers I was working with. We would have games at our house, card games at our house. We worked the night shift, so at the end of the night, our night shift, we would go to either one of us our house, play a few games of spades, just unwind. And so, but it was really good. It was really cool. I had my twins at that point. They was very young. Lynn was, doing everything she was always known for doing. And so it was a good time. It really was. I was done with the streets. I didn't have any threats on me. So yeah, it was. And so then I remember being already almost done with Maryland. And so we wound up moving before. We wound up moving to Orange. Wound up moving to Orange, Virginia. And then I remember traveling back and forth to Culpeper to Maryland, but then I remember taking another job in Orange at Lomans, which is a sort of like a sister company of Klöckner, which is the plastic coating and the plastic making company that does a lot of the plastic making in America. So I did that for about a year and change, about 2 years, and throughout some little I guess, disagreement with one of my employees. I want him leaving. So I went to tractor trailer school, got my tractor trailer license, and I was learning that. And right out of school, I went and got a job in Fredericksburg, hauling beer, delivering beer to all the, I guess they call them C stores, with the Kroger, no, not the Kroger, the 7-Elevens, the Wawas, the Sheets, the everywhere that sell beer, the little convenience stores and all that. That's where I did that for about a couple years, well, at least almost 3 years. Did that, and I was back and forth, from, I was still doing my stuff with my clothes and stuff, so I would go get a case of something, and I would go wholesale it to somebody. So I was still producing on the side, and so I'm driving back and forth, and I think this is when me and Lane, well, we was already having issues. You know, like I told you, we had a physical relationship, so in physical on my end, verbally abusive on her end. So it was already times we had separated once. And so at that point, I was living in Quantico, right near Quantico, Triangle. And I was close to work, so I would just go to work, get my truck, and go back. The whole time, though, everyone knows I was still doing everything I was supposed to do financially for the house. I don't care if I'm there or not there. My kids are there. That was a gimme. And so it was already going through little issues in a relationship, and so we separated. And like I said, I was working, going back and forth, and actually, I really dived into what you call my supply business at that point. I was supplying stores from Harrisonburg to Greene to Northern Virginia. I was supplying stores all the way down to Roanoke, a little bit of Lynchburg. I used to go out there to the flea markets and set up and do all kind of stuff. So I was out there. I was definitely getting it in. And so, but so I was trying to. I think me and Lynn was trying to make it rekindle at that point, but I was going back and forth to Charlottesville all at the same time, and I wound up going back home. Me and Lynn giving it another shot, and I noticed something about myself on the second go around. At this shot of relationship, we still had some of the same issues, but I had started to really notice things about myself and work on myself about a lot of things, and so I remember me going back. I remember us being together, and I remember that certain things never changed. Certain things didn't change. I'm not going to point a finger. Certain things never changed. Certain things were the same. So we separated again. And this time when we separated, it was different. We had established what she needed to get by. We had established what because I had a Suburban. Of course, everything was me. She was a stay-at-home mom, so rent, Suburban, insurance, everything, all that was on me. So we was figuring out what was a good number to make sure she had every day. And at this point, I think I had, yes. So I went from, actually, I'm sorry, I said that backwards. I was at Lomond, and then I went to tractor trailer school. So anyway, so I got back to, I was driving back and forth to Charlottesville, and a friend of mine I know was driving a taxi cab, and I was looking for a part-time gig, and he kept telling me he can get me on with the taxi cab company. So I went up there for the interview, and the guy that trained me is an older guy named Vic. Older white guy named Vic, cool guy. Older dude, 70 years old. Said he made 70,000. No, I think Vic was 60 something years old, almost 70. So he made 70,000 a year driving a taxi cab, working 5 days a week, 7 in the morning to 7 at night, 5 days a week, faithfully. Tell me he made $70,000. I'm looking at this old guy. I'm a young guy. I had a lot of hustle on me. I'm looking at this old guy. I was just blown away. I'm like, so I was hungry. So I would get off work and come straight out here to Charlottesville, jump in a cab and drive. And so I would drive Friday when I got off work to Sunday. Sometimes Sunday or sometimes Saturday, but most likely Sunday. So I would get off. I would be at work. I had to be to work 4 in the morning Friday. I would get off out of my truck on Friday. I would run out here to Charlottesville. And I would get on. Excuse me. I would run out here to Charlottesville, jump in my truck, and jump in my cab. I'm sorry, and I would drive from Friday to Sunday. I would freshen up at anybody's house I could, get my sleep when I could, sleep in the car, whatever I had to do. I would come out and make anywhere between $400 to $800 in between Friday and Saturday, or sometimes Saturday to Sunday. And I wasn't even doing that in the truck. Some of the money I was making a weekend driving a cab, I wasn't even doing that in the truck. So of course I was hyper about it. So I would come out and do that, and then I would go back home on Sunday, and I would get up and I would work again. And so I really became really interested in doing it full time. So I gave it a shot full time. And the first time I came in the company, I was using the company car. Company cars is everybody uses them, so nobody really takes care of them. Nobody really shows them love. So of course they're in all different degrees of condition. So I wound up getting. I was working for the company, and I wound up going to the owner, Jay Graves, and I wound up asking him, can I buy my own cab, or do you have? And so Jay asked me, said, "You want a cab? That's fine." So Jay went and got me a cab from the auction, wherever he gets them, painted it off for me, put my logo on the back of it and everything, and gave me my first cab. And that reduced my cab fees in half. I never quite understood how these older guys, people that did this for 14, 15, 20 years, just kept making this company so much money, but never really stepped out on their own to try to do it on their own, or never stepped out, thought about getting their own car. A couple of them did, but very few. Only a very few of them did it. Not many of them did it. But when I did it, automatically I was considered a threat. Automatically when I did it, I was considered somebody, or I'm big headed, or but it wasn't that. It's like, come on, I'm looking at the opportunity in front of me, and I'm looking at how everybody is just putting money into the company, paying them $81 a day to use their car. And they told me if I get my own car, it'd be like 30 something. I'm like, what? That's a no-brainer. $36 worth is $81. So I went and bought my own. I got my car from him, and sure enough, a lot of people, they seen it. What's crazy about some people is instead of them asking you or trying to figure out your game plan, figuring out what you did, figuring out how they can do it, the first reaction most of the time is people just being upset with you or hating on you because you did something abnormal. And if abnormal for me is jumping out and figuring out how to be my own boss, then I guess I'm definitely abnormal then in that case. But I did it. A lot of people honestly had an issue with it, but I did it, and I did very well. My goal is 70,000, and so I aimed for that 70 that first year. Came close, but didn't make it. Then next year, smacked it, and then on and on and on, years after years. Of course, I did it for 11 years. I met so many awesome people, so many great people, and so in that 11 years, I wound up becoming a supervisor, wound up owning many vehicles, and it was really nice. And so me and Lynn is going back and forth, trying to see where we at. Um, Actually, I bought the vehicle. I was still with the family, and I was going back and forth to work. I was and then once we split again, I was given I don't even like to say speaking right, but I was given a lot of money just to keep operation costs and everything, and weekly. I was doing it weekly. Hey, whatever. So I was given her $500 a week, and I was still taking care of the the car notes, the insurance, and everything. And I guess as I go forward, even the things I'm not comfortable with, I'm gonna have to start talking about them. So I was giving her $500 a week, and I was trying to keep. I was. She knew how much my kids mean to me, and so she just started keeping my kids from me. Keeping. I would ask. I would have to go jump through all these hoops to speak to them. I have to jump through all these hoops to even be able to see him. And she. I don't. It was funny though. I don't think she was really bitter at that point. I think she was just flexing at that point. And I know it because we even though we wasn't together, we was okay. We didn't really have too many issues, other than the same issues we always had. But I think we was okay. So I know it was more of a flexing thing, and it bothered me because I was like, oh, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing as a man, and you're not holding up your end of the bargain. So that really bothered me. And at that point, at that specific time in my life, I was being we were separated. I was just trying to figure it out, and so I was on this dating site, and I wound up. Me and Melinda had been separated for a bit. I was on the dating site, and came across Maria's profile, and so I messaged her. She messaged me back. I messaged her, look, this is Maria, this is Mike. A lot has changed. If this is you, hello. If not, forgive me for the intrusion. People change after a while. Not sure they look alike. So she messaged me back, and we talked on and on and on the phone, off and on for a bit, night in and night out, and so we was talking. And the minute Lynn got word that we was even talking, it, of course, everyone knows it got ugly. And we were just talking at that point, though. But now all of a sudden, Lynn wanted me back. Now all of a sudden, I was of interest again. And so, regardless of what I was doing, regardless of what I was providing, I wasn't at that point. I wasn't shit. I wasn't doing nothing at that point. And so, I I wound up officially filing separation papers, and we came to agreement, me and Lynn, alimony, child support, and gave up the house and everything. And so, that was the agreement. And but even throughout all the agreement, she was still really bitter. You can tell. And I think it was mostly because I had got back with Maria, even though it was obvious that she didn't want me and we was done. But I think it was more bitter because I went backwards. I went to somebody she definitely didn't want me to go back to. So, but I'm at my 20-minute mark almost. So y'all have a blessed day, and tomorrow's another video. Love you all. Love somebody. Do something for somebody.